Phase one of the three-peat is almost complete. The regular season comes to an end. The Chiefs are just about there, and there's a couple of surprises coming for you, even that we haven't told you about yet. Welcome in. It's RGR Football. Happy New Year and all the things to everyone. Haven't seen Dan since the New Year yet. How you doing, pal?
Yeah, it's been a long time, right? It feels like we haven't been able to do a lot. So thank you guys hope you guys had a great Christmas, great New Year's. We're here, and I know it's hard to get up for a game like this, right? There's nothing at stake. There's nothing really new happening, except we do have some new information for you guys. But I'm doing well, and I'm excited to see what this is in essence preseason game holds for the Kansas City Chiefs.
And that's it's a pre-postseason game. That's what I'm going to call it. Pre-post.
There you go.
Because they've gone through, they've done their job, they've gotten their wins. Now it's just to get to the next level. And so we know Carson Wentz is going to start this game. Patrick Mahomes isn't going to play. Travis Kelce isn't going to play. Chris Jones isn't going to play. DJ Humphries isn't going to play. That's okay. A lot of other mystery riding around, supposedly. We'll get to some of that. But I know what job number one for me is. If you don't know Dan Harms, he runs things over at the Draft Network. That's what I'm saying these days, Dan. You can check out all of his reviews and his film work there. Don't worry. He's still going to be with us for the draft season. We have our kind of stuff getting going as well. But he runs film over here for us as well. I'm Ryan Tracy. Welcome to RGR Football. Like, sub, hit the bell. Get Dan's hat in the store. You can get mine in the store as well. We got all kinds of stuff. And I had the playoff run stuff working. I'm not quite there yet, but we'll have some new releases for the playoff run. Don't worry. Now, we usually do 4 points. I don't know if we're going to get there today, but we're going to give it our best shot because this is a game that a couple of things have to be very specific. Dan, where do you start?
This starts for me at tackles because you haven't had very much in terms of being able to get enough out of Wanya Morris and Kingsley Suamataia in this season. But there is a stress-free football game on Sunday for them to play in where there's nothing riding on them. They don't have to be excellent. They don't have to make sure Patrick Mahomes doesn't get hurt. No offense, Carson. I think you'll be able to get the ball out quickly, but their priority in this game needs to be technique. Learn technique. Every time you come off the field, go to Andy Heck, go to DJ Humphries, go to Joe Tooney, who's in the tackle locker room now, and talk. Just say, okay, so I did this here. How can I get better doing this? Because they're going to have to probably deal with some speed off the edge. We know that they have a lot of speed, some really good pass rushers because they're not going to rest their defensive players. They're trying to get into the postseason. So this is a good opportunity for them to trial and error. They need to be able to see what you have in Wanya Morris at right tackle, who, again, we might actually see him there for the future because he looked very good in his role when Juwan Taylor got hurt. But you're also going to get another good look at your young tackle who did not have the greatest season after he got benched. So for me, it starts there where you are going to have a stress-free environment where they mentally can clear everything out of their minds, go out, play, and learn. This is, in essence, a booster going into next season.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And I'm really keen to see Kingsley's place in time because, as you said, didn't fare well during the first season. Haven't seen him for a while other than some, sixth man kind of opportunities. So where do you start here? Benito, Pro Bowler. Yeah. So not only have you gone, has this team seen Miles, have they seen TJ, but even guys that are coming up and getting into that echelon certainly is going to be the matchup that I'm going to be watching, probably number one. Yeah. But before we even get to my number two, it's the overarching thing. This whole thing is don't get anybody hurt, anybody, even Carson. Yes. Throw the damn ball away because it just don't matter. They're going to give you their best. Like you said, they're fighting for a playoff berth. You don't have to. Just throw the damn ball away. Don't get hit. Don't get hurt. It's going to be fine. For me, number one is that overall. But number two is do what you haven't been able to do because it's not necessarily in your nature. Run way more under center play action with Carson Wentz. See what he can do. He's good on the move. I'd run some RPO with him as well. I'm not going to do a sneak on purpose, but you saw Joe Burrow do the tush push last week. If they get an opportunity, you might as well do it for nothing else than set it onto the film so somebody has to watch it in the playoff game. You waltz him into a formation at some point, they will key on it. It is a great thing to do, but running the ball is important. I think this should be a Carson Steele game myself. I want to see him handle the rock. If Hunt and Pops weren't able to go for some reason in January, what can he do for you? I think you got to rest Pirine given his age and everything, so I don't want to make him the feature guy, but I want to run at him. I want to be physical, especially because I expect the backups all on the offensive line to play. The only guy that I personally feel should play right now, just to make sure that you don't have any of those easy giveaways, is Creed Humphrey. Just
Yeah.
manage the exchange, switch in the guards. I really want to see Norzad, but that's it. Like, run the ball, do the basics, go attack them downfield, and be physical.
Yeah, I think that what we need to see from Creed, because we've heard Andy talk this week about how some of the things that go into playing time this week are going to be keeping streaks alive. So we know at least for a little bit, Creed Humphrey is going to play. You're going to have some of those snap streaks staying alive this week. So just paying attention a little bit there. And when we talk about putting stuff on tape, even though it is a quote unquote meaningless football game, you can always show something. You can always show a little bit of something, because in the past we've seen not only like yards per attempt go down when it's a backup quarterback or time to throw go really down quickly, things like that. In terms of Chad Henne, Matt Moore, Carson Wentz is going to give you a little bit more. He's going to give you a little bit more of what you can do physically than those guys could do at their age. So we know, I don't think you're going to see a complete rest week for Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, things like that. You want those guys maybe to play a little bit here and there. Well, maybe throwing the ball downfield a little bit, see what they got. So I like that point. And please, nobody. If you tweak something, if you feel a little bit of just get off the field. No one, just go away and figure that out. Earlier today, my third point, really, we're going to kind of mention it in glossing. Earlier today, we're recording this on Friday. We found out, lo and behold, Jaylen Watson has been activated off the injured reserve and will get 2 weeks to practice going into the season. So that is a huge boost for their defensive back room. Now, we know Steven Nelson was brought in. He's not likely going to play this week. Again, he doesn't need a ton of play time. It's more about getting his legs right. And now that you're going to get Jaylen Watson back, Keith Taylor played well last week. I think that this is a good opportunity to showcase your backups, Najee Johnson, Josh Williams, Keith Taylor. All those guys are going to get playing time in this game. Sort that out, because now if Jaylen Watson comes back, you're going to have a lot of depth. And honestly, it's a lot of experience for Keith Taylor and Najee Johnson, who don't have that. Najee's played a lot this year, but he's again faltered. There's no stress in this game. You don't have to worry about the mental state. Like, this is a good opportunity to reset some of those players that maybe didn't have the best season. So we talk about some guys that have been in and out of the lineup, and then you mentioned running back. Keontae Ingram, I would elevate for this game. It's the only running back that they have on the practice squad. And if you want to rest Samaje Perine, just don't let him play. You bring up Keontae Ingram, see what he's going to give you, because like you said, you've got both guys ahead. If they get injured, because they have dealt with injuries in the past, what do you have? And Keontae Ingram is going to have to play a little bit. At least you want to give Carson Steele as much as he can handle, but not too much, because he is on the active roster. He is going to be doing some special teams and things like that. So just, if anybody out there on your practice squad you want to get a look at, this is an opportunity to do that. And I think this could be a really big Peyton Hendershot game, because Carson Wentz maybe goes in his head a little bit. He wants to get the ball out quick. Tight ends are usually that guy. So I think that this is an opportunity to showcase still a relatively young tight end who has played a little bit here and there coming back from his injury. This is a good opportunity for him to get his legs back under him too.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I thought you did a great look at him earlier in the year, and he's made a couple of key contributions. I really like his presence on the field, so I'm looking forward to seeing him as well. Luckily, they don't have to elevate for that. The problem is Chris Oladokun is going to elevate because Carson's starting. So you're only bringing up one guy, and I've been going back all week. Keontae Ingram's as good as any other option, but for me, I've been going back and forth between two guys. Either Tyquan Thornton, because I want to see what he looks like in this offense. He's got professional experience. He's been on the field. I just want to see it in this to see if there's anything there. Nice. Again, like you said, measuring what you have on the practice field. But for me, the guy that I wanted to see more of last week and didn't get it because you were still fighting for a playoff spot is Marlon Tuipulotu. I want to see him. Yeah. I want him all over that. I'd like to see at least 50% of the snaps for him. And I would bring up Siaki Ika as well. I could see that. This guy was at one time thought to be the premier defensive tackle in his class, and it just hasn't happened. But put him on the field with another young guy and see if they could just wreck that interior run game. I'm looking for some prospect to step out that is on the practice squad or is buried in the depth chart who says, hey, remember me? I know it's the playoff run. I got fresh legs. Let's do something. That's number 4 for me.
Get somebody doing something like Darius Rush. This is an opportunity to showcase for any of these young guys that at one point put on college tape, I'm draftable, I'm a good player, I can give you something. And like you mentioned, Siaki Ika, that'd be a lot of fun, because even though he did not have a great last year in college, I was still a fan of what he could do because that guy's hard to move. Like he's just so hard to move. And when you have a guy like that with the athletic upside that he possesses, it's just fun to think about. So anybody that is going to be able to give you a little bit of something, it's a great showcase for them. Maybe not even just for your team next year, but for their future in general, because Carson Wentz might end up being a starting quarterback next year for a bridge team that needs. So he's going to go out there and give you the best opportunity to win this football game in a quote unquote, again, meaningless game. So there's so much like little tiny things that you could get out of so many things you can get out of this game for a team. Felix Anudike-Uzomah is going to be a starter. What are you going to get from him? Is he going to be able to get to Bo Nix? Like there's so many little tiny things that just end up building to this point where this is a great evaluation tool for the team where you don't get these kind of opportunities every single year. So the fact they wrapped up the 1 seed last week allows them to take full advantage of this time and evaluate their roster.
And you have to do it across the league. The pro personnel department at One Arrowhead Drive is working on all the playoff possibilities. Every team that they could face, they're working up film on that. They don't have time right now. For everybody else in the league, you ought to be watching these games for teams that have spots clinched because you're going to find prospects, and maybe that changes your draft strategy. We'll have plenty of draft strategy coming for you guys, but right now we get to do what we do in Chiefs Kingdom and actually pay attention to the postseason, unlike a lot of other fan bases. Sorry, Dolphins. Good luck. There's also a lot that goes into it. I'm going to flip it up, and I'm going to go first because I just want to get out of the way. I'll be the naysayer. The Chiefs' backups are good. Broncos have a very, very good defense, although it's been a little slightly tarnished the last couple of weeks. They're fighting for their playoff chances. I'd rather them get in than the Bengals. So the Chiefs lose this game in my estimation, but it is a fight. And I do think it's fairly decent back and forth. 24-7 Team Broncos is what I think is going to happen.
I think this is going to be a fun game. Like we've seen teams, Bengals, be able to throw downfield on this football team if you can protect. And I think that they might be able to do a little bit better with Carson Wentz back there and just kind of letting their offense shine, streamlining a little bit for him. I don't think they're going to win this game either myself. I just think that the Broncos have far more to play for. Now, I will say Carson Wentz has a legitimate shot to play for something. This is not just a showcase for him to come out there and say, I'm just a backup at this point. He's still young enough, and there are teams out there specifically with how light this quarterback class is in the 2025 draft class. Teams will be looking to better their roster, bridge quarterback, and then draft in 2026. So this is an opportunity for him to go out there and say, I can be your bridge quarterback with a great performance against the Denver Broncos in a game that they ultimately lose 28-21.
Oh, I like it. We want to know what you think. Put your predictions down here in the YouTube comments. Make sure you like, sub, get the bell, get the stuff in the gear store and everything. And if you want that membership, you want the rants and all the stuff we don't say necessarily in public, at least in my part, you want to hear me cuss, you got to go into the members. That's just the way that it works most of the time. So join that membership at Rookie and Above, and you'll get all that along with my game notes and everything else. We're excited. Phase 1, almost over. Moving into phase 2. That's the playoff run. Phase 3 will be the actual championship, and we are going to get there. Please have yourself a good time. Thanks for being with us. Spread the word. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.